And there we go. All right. It's always an adventure. Live stream day is always an adventure. I'm going to move this a little bit. We're going to, yeah, it's going to be bouncing around for just a second to get to the place. There we go. Not too bad, right? Not too All right. It is Tuesday, and we are here, and I hope my audio is good. Let me know if my audio is a problem. But I do believe we're in good shape. Excellent condition. Hey, Burso. Hello, hello. I'm on the main account. Somehow, I have collected 17 sacred shards in like a record amount of time. I've gotten so many sacred shards in the last few weeks. It's crazy. I've got 17. I think the most I've ever had is 24. And in order to get the 24, I'm sure I skipped like a fusion, you know, and some 2x events and stuff. And when you get up to 17 sacred shards, you start to think about like guaranteed events, you know? So it's almost like, okay, I know this fusion is coming around. I know I'm going to have to pull some sacred shards. Can I get away with pulling 3 or 4? You know, can I do that? Can I still make the fusion count and then like hold on to a whole bunch and try to get up to the 25, you know, range so I can get a 1+1 or a guaranteed champion? That's the thought, but that's only ever happened once, I think, that I've gotten a guaranteed champion on this account, the sacred shards. But it feels good. Let's check out the progressives, actually. I haven't even looked at the progressive. Oh, look, they've got Armands in a progressive with Kymar, and yeah, that's a good progressive. Not that I'm going to pull. What about the voids? Siffy. And this chick, whose name I forget. I have her on the Noob versus Pro account, too. What is her name again? It starts with an R, doesn't it? Raka Vile. Pretty good champ. Hey, Fang. Sounds good? All right, good. Yeah, we actually started on time today. Completely on time. Which is, I know, strange. Shocking. All right. Let's see. All right, so we're doing a takeover today. Don't know whose. Don't know who. We're not going to wait too long, though. I am in crazy town. That's where I'm living these days. My brain is completely fried. It's like everybody told me, you know, it's like that first month of having a kid is like just your whole world turns upside down. I'm like, time has no meaning whatsoever right now. My brain does not acknowledge like the passage of time in a normal way. Yano's got a Demitha and a Brogni. That's very nice. That's very nice. Hey, Freaky. Good to see you. Freaky, I'm sorry. I saw your message. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it. But yeah, I'm happy to take a look. I'm happy to take a look. If you want to shoot me roster photos, or, you know, you could stream for me in a lobby one day. You could do something like that. Marcus, how do I try to let you do a takeover? So there's just a process if you've never done one of these before. Basically what happens is you need to join our Discord. So if you are not a member of our Discord right now, you just want to click on the link in the description of this video, go over to the Discord, just become a member there. When I tell you, we'll have there's a section in the left-hand column. You just kind of scroll down. You'll see the takeover section. Actually, I think it's called Coaching Corner. Let me double check. I think it's called Coaching Corner. And under coaching corner, oh, that reminds me, I should actually move. I'm not in. Let me get. Okay, now I'm in. So in the coaching corner, you need to go to the channel that says Wheel of Takeover. And in that channel, there's going to be a message from Sun, my editor, whose name is Sun. And you just need to react to that message. Don't type anything. Just go ahead and send any kind of reaction to that message. That's going to add you to the wheel. And then when we spin the wheel, you have your chance to win. So that's how that works. Hey, Sindragore. Hey, Caveman. Messi. John Bibby. Sauce. Silver Bullet. Genvers. Al Bundy. Tulsi. Everybody. All right. Now we know how women feel all the time. Yeah, it's we do a good job splitting up the baby time. I'm generally the late night person. Try to give my wife some sleep because she's still recovering. But yeah, so I'm usually on the 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift. That's my shift. And then she usually gets up early. She gets up at 4 a.m. and she takes the baby until 10, and I sleep from 4 till 10. But we've been changing things recently because his sleep habits are already changing. And so last night I was on the, what was that? I was like, I don't know, it's like 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. something like that. I did 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. I think it was like a kind of, she was up anyway. Not not a normal sleeping schedule. Hey, Ace. 6-star awakening for Eris. Very nice. If you're using a Myth Air comp and you want to get as much damage as possible, then yeah, probably Phantom Touch, because you're guaranteed. I think with the 6-star Phantom Touch, you're guaranteed, right? It's 100%, or is it like 60% or something? 100%. Yeah. So that would probably be, if you're going to use it on Eris, that would probably be what you'd want. Ace has a question. If I won last week, can I still put my name in the hat for my wife? She doesn't have Discord. So no. Unfortunately, no. She needs to have Discord. She needs to have Discord for a couple of reasons. One is like that's a really easy way for people to just put their alts in. Do you know what I mean? Like you have 5 alts, and so you just keep rolling for alts. And really, we're just trying to help people with their main accounts or whatever account they want us to help them. So she's more than welcome to put her own name in. But yeah, you can't put your name in for her account, unfortunately. Yeah, I am excited for Epic Empowerment as well. So I have not been keeping all of my copies, but I do have several copies of some good epics. I've got 3 copies right now of Godseeker and Neri. And I was going to build a second one. But now, depending on how Empowerment's, working, I might end up doing Empowerment. I've got 3 copies of Ashma right now. I've got a couple of copies of Ruella. I just pulled a 5-star soul for Vildrax, so I might end up building him out. Although honestly, I don't know how good. I know he's usable. I don't know how good he is. So he's got a leech double hitter on his A1. It's a decent chance, 50% chance of landing. Is it per hit? Yeah, per hit. So 75% chance of land. He is an AoE hex champion, 100% chance. So, he's Hydra viable. You don't have another one. You could even put him potentially in a provoke set. Right? He's got another AoE. 100% chance to increase the duration of all enemy debuffs. Cool. Stealing the heal each time an enemy under hex debuff is about to be healed. That's kind of cool. It's not work against bosses. Huh. Interesting. So yeah, Malum, So if empowerment for epics works the same as it works for legendaries, right? Like you can come in here and say, okay, you know, Bannerlords. So I've got these two. What's his name? I don't even remember this guy's name. No, what's his name? Now it's gonna bother me. Look, it's look something. Lugan. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And it was an LU. But anyway, so I could empower him, and that would consume one of the Lugans, right? And then I wouldn't be able to use him as a faction guardian. So if they're doing the same thing with epics, then I'm assuming, you know, like here I could take my Ursula, I could feed her to my other Ursula and get a +1, but then I would lose my faction guardian. And there are probably several champions for which that could be really worthwhile, especially if you're running any solo champion. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of excited about. You know, like if you have like a Venom Mage or a Lady Annabelle or a Burn Geary or somebody, you know, like that you run as a solo champion. Maybe a my brain doesn't work anymore. Verges. You have a Verges, you know, adding those copies and getting them maxed out could be really valuable. So we'll have to see. I'm excited for it. People have been asking for it for ever since Empowerment came out, which is weird because we don't really like Empowerment. Like Empowerment kind of sucks. Empowerment's kind of awful for the game, but it is, you know, I guess, you know, if you're going to have Empowerment in the game, why not have it for epics as well? It'd be interesting if they did it for rares eventually, you know, like why not have Empowerment for rares? They have blessings, and the blessings scale, you know, like the legendary champions get more stats for the blessings. But yeah. Hello, Suzanne. Good to see you. Thank you, Alexander. Yes, please like the stream. Jake Taylor, all you have to... Jake Taylor? I actually know a Jake Taylor. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but I know a Jake Taylor. I mean, you would know me visually if it was anyway. Okay, so you need to join the Discord community, and then in my Discord, go down the column until you see the coaching corner. There's a channel called The Wheel of Takeover. You need to react to the message in that channel. I guess kind of, you know, Jacob Taylor, I guess. I haven't seen the guy in 15 years. When I lived in Boston, we were on like a sports team together. Jake Taylor from Major League. Is that also the name of the guy from Major League, Jake Taylor? Now you've got me wondering if it's the right last name. Is it actually Jake Taylor? Or is it like Jake Tyler? I don't know. It's been too long. I'm gonna have to look him up on Facebook after this. Hey Nathan, I'm doing well. Neo's in the house. Yeah, Neo, I think that happens, right? Like as you progress, epics become less and less valuable, with the exception of just a few, right? A few special ones like Godseeker, Neri, Demitha, you know, maybe Allure. Like they're, you know, there are 5 to 10 epics that stay in relevant, but beyond that, not so much. Hello, Clement. Folks, good to see you. HH did a video. I haven't caught it yet. So gets less stats on speed and crit damage, but the 40% is the same on the first few stats at level 4. Okay. Epic Empowerment does make 2 times Ancients way more exciting. I have always liked epics. I'm also a completionist. I have tried to keep a copy of every epic that I've ever pulled. So if we just look at my epics here. Okay, so let's see. So these are all the epics I own. So I have almost every epic in the game still on my account. I have most of them. I'm probably missing like 25, maybe. I mean, if it's easier to see in the index, right? Because if you go here and you're just like, okay, look, like I've got all the Banner Lords, and I don't think, like maybe I don't have an Eelfrig right now because I just fused Lady Mikage, and he might have been my only Eelfrig, but I'm not 100% sure. You know, so like that's the reason why I wouldn't have High Elves. You know, I've pulled all of them. I think that there's a High Elf I don't have. I don't think I have Illusinia because I think I used her for Lady Mikage, and so I didn't have a second copy of her. And then Sacred Order. You can see I have pulled all of them, and I'm pretty sure I have all of them. I don't think I've used any of those up. Barbarians. I'm still missing Barrel. That's so one. And I'm pretty sure I have all of the rest of them. Ogrin. I'm missing one. Grunch. I've never pulled a Grunch. That's interesting. Lizardmen, got them all. Skinwalkers, I think I've got them all. Orcs, I might be missing one. I'm missing a life. I think I have her. Isn't she like a... She might be a Doom Tower champion. Let's see. Do I have her? I do. She's right here. So I do have her. I just haven't pulled her. So. Yeah, Neo, I see you. I see you, buddy. That text-to-speech should be on. I don't know why it's not coming through. Let's see. It might just be delayed. Son, do you know what's going on there? We've had a little bit of trouble with the text-to-speech recently. So yeah, I'm missing Geo. I'm missing just a few. Just a few. There are some that I've pulled that I've acquired for whatever reason, and I've had to use like a couple of fusion epics and stuff like that that I didn't get copies for, like extra copies for. But yeah. +4 Duodan. Could work. I mean, he's a not provoke, taunt champion. The other day, Ash has never pulled a miscreated monster. Wow. I just pulled my Immortals. I had 4 of them, so I just decided to pull them. I didn't hit on anybody really good, unfortunately. I did pull a 5-star Vildrax, and I think I got 2 legendary souls, actually 2 5-star legendary souls for legendaries I don't own. One of them was good though. Oh, I'm sorry, it was a 4-star. I got one for the owl. What's his name? And then I think the other one I got was a 5-star for Ethos. I have no recall right now. I can't remember any champions' names. You'd be like, who's the golden guy with the wings, the angel looking dude? I'd be like, huh? Cardiel? Yeah, the Seer copies are going to be valuable. Thank you, Neo, by the way. I mean, I know you were kind of taunting me there, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the support, man. Yeah, Ilfrig took a while for me to get too. He was one of the last champions I got for Lady Mikage. I would love to have an either. Nightmare campaign farming is something that I don't really have a really good option for. My best option is probably Skull Crown, but she takes a lot of stats, and like putting such good gear on her to allow her to farm Nightmare Campaign, like, because I'm free to play, it's like I'm taking away a great set from somebody else who could use it somewhere else, you know, so. Yeah, I could see Neldor being a target. Created and 2. Is Nightmare farming a lot better than Brutal? No, it's not. Nightmare farming is a little bit different. So in terms of XP, it is more efficient. But if you're trying to get, like, first of all, you don't get mystery shards in Nightmare, I don't think. And then you also, like, for silver, Brutal's better, I think. Wow. Come on. Text to speech, work. Why does my text to speech not work? There it is. Why are we not hearing? Oh, you know what it is? Let me do this. Yeah, get it. So the text is popping up, but we're not hearing the sound. I got it. Thank you. I think I got it. So if there's another one. But Ace, thanks so much for the 5 gifted subs. Lumac, Zondi, Massey, Ravenwolf, and Uncle Dan. Uncle Dan is somebody who gives away memberships as well, I believe. But thanks so much. That's awesome. Go ahead, if you are a new member, go ahead and spam some of your emojis so you can enjoy it right away. But yeah, I think I've got it figured out. So one of the things that happens, and this, like, I'm tech savvy. I'm not like a technophile, I guess I would say. It's like I like using the software and stuff. When I have time, I can get good at this stuff. But one of the things that happens is when you're running a setup for live streaming and doing YouTube and all that stuff, you have, you know, all of these different components. And whenever one of them gets updated, it can throw off the settings for other components. So when my microphone software got updated like a week ago, it changed all the settings in Discord. It changed the settings in OBS. It changed, you know, so it's like I've got to run around and try to find them all. And I don't always remember. So I'm pretty sure it was just that the OBS wasn't hearing the audio because it had changed the audio setting. So I do think that the next time somebody does a text to speech, hopefully we'll hear the ding and the voice. But at least it popped up. It did pop up. Fusion is coming up. Hey, Great Dane. Booger. Zondi. Zonday. Zonday. Darth Malgus in the house. You wanted to show some gratitude for helping you to get the 100 million damage on Hydra. That was awesome, by the way. That was really great. So that's the takeover we just did last week, I think, right? And yeah, so so Ace, I put together that team and we ran, I think on stream we got something like 34 million or something. And I ran it basically full auto. And then you made a tweak and you sent me a screenshot. It was like 55 million, 56 million, something like that. And then the next day you sent me a screenshot with like 80 million and now it's up to 100 million. so a couple of tweaks there. That's fantastic. That's what I love about Takeover. Hey, Swam, good to see you. OG Stamp too. Nathan, Greg Kern, JB. Hey, good to see you. Yeah. You did not turn it off, you liar. What am I keeping the sacred shards for? Yeah, I don't pull during progressive chances. I pull sacreds now for fusions and for guaranteed champion. Unless there's something really special going on. If there's like a 2-time sacred and a progressive that's happening simultaneously for a champion that I need, I might pull. I think I did that last time. Every once in a while, like if I have another reason to pull and then there's like a champion chase or something and there's mythical tomes out there that I can grab, you know, I might do that. Oh, speaking of which, I should probably finish booking out Lady Mikage. All right. 1, 2. I have the books. I could book her out. But here's the thing, though. Like, I don't really need... You don't need the books on. Like, this cooldown's kind of nice. And then this cooldown, which I already hit, is kind of nice. So it's like, I'm just kind of thinking I'll save it for the next personal rewards, PRCVC. Yeah, I'll do that. All right, Ace. Yeah, second team is... You know, you got to balance all those things that we were talking about. So, hey, Perry, thank you. Jake Taylor. Yeah, it can be. It can be. I feel you there. So I have like 4 YouTube accounts, right? And most of them were like older ones. Oh, let's see if this... Come on. That should have worked. That should have worked. That makes me mad. Let's see. Control audio via OBS. Son, we need to work on this and figure this out. I don't like it when people do that kind of stuff and then they don't get their messages. We get to hear them. We've had so much struggle with this text to speech stuff. But I really thought we had it all handled. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Hit the like button. New dad so stressed he's losing his hair. Help him out. No, I'm so stressed I'm growing hair back. That's what's happening. Like I haven't shaved in 3 days. You know, I forget to shave my hair. Tulsi's like, enough. Let's just go. All right, what's going on, son?
Oh, there he is. You know I've been here this entire time and you've been deafened, right?
Yeah, so what's up?
So the for the notifications, text to speech still works, but I couldn't find a way for us to have it, because when people were gifting subs, it was just spitting out names for minutes at a time, rather than the messages, and there's no way to do one or the other. So that's why right now I think it should just be messages that work when it's a like text to speech donation kind of thing.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the ding and everything, that's coming through correctly as it should. So.
Oh, you were hearing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's working.
I was not. I wasn't getting that.
Oh. Yeah, that's in your OBS then somewhere.
All right, text to speech.
It did come through the stream. Alex is slowly climbing to number 1 on the hero list in the chat.
I can implant hairs anytime I want. Dude, if you asked, like, if I could just snap my fingers and have all of my hair back, or have all of the hair that I currently have just disappear so I never had to shave it again, I would go with the latter option. I would just be like, take it all away. take it all away. I don't want the hair back. Life is better bald. Trust me. I had hair for 30 years. I've not had hair for almost 20 years. It's better to not have hair. The only downside, there's one downside. No, okay, there are two downsides. One is when you're exercising, you need to wear a sweatband because otherwise the sweat just pours into your eyes. That's one. And two is you really, really have to either have a hat or sunscreen at all times, because if you don't, you burn your scalp and that's awful. But those are the only downsides. Like, I don't have to worry about shampoo. I don't have to worry about haircuts. I don't have to worry about a bad hair day. I don't have to worry about bedhead. You know, bald is awesome. I love being bald.
True.
All right, so here it is. This is the last instructions for today. So you need to join our Discord community if you want a free takeover. So just click on the link in the description of this video. That'll bring you into our Discord. In the left-hand column, there's a list of all of the different areas of our server. You want to scroll down until you see the Coaching Corner. In the Coaching Corner section, there's a channel called the Wheel of Takeover. Go into that channel. There's a message from my editor, whose name is Sun. And all you have to do is react to that message. That will add you to the wheel. In a moment, we will spin the wheel, and if you win, you get the takeover. You want to have your login information ready, so that's your email and your password. If you have two-factor authentication, then you'll send me that once I log in. So as soon as you win, send me a DM with that login information. I will log in, and then go ahead and tell me what kind of takeover you're interested in having. And then Sun will give you permission to join a channel called the Coaching Voice. And I want you to join that channel and then mute the stream. So you'll be able to hear me in Discord. You won't be able to speak to me in Discord, but you'll be able to hear me in Discord in real time. So that way we don't have to like go round and round with the delay in the live stream. And that's it, really. I think that's everything. Son, did I miss anything?
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Hey, Shock, happy birthday. How old are you, man? Let's guess Shock's birthday. All right, don't tell us. Don't tell us, Shock. We're going to hang on. We're going to do a poll. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and guess how old Shockbacher is today. I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing 21 and 29. That's going to be my guess. The takeover has not been chosen yet, Brick. Yeah, if you're 40 or older, you're old as dirt. I'm old as dirt. There might be a few people older than me in the stream. We have some viewers who are in their 50s and 60s. Definitely. I'm 49, so I appreciate that. Generation X representing. Okay, so Son, why don't we go ahead and spin the wheel? Let's get this show on the road. I don't know how much energy I'm going to have today. We'll have to see. We got a lot of reaction. You have Jesus in your yearbook. Yeah, 49. I turned 49 in March. Thank you. I remember I had this I went to this party. This is about 10 years ago, maybe. I was like 38, 39. I went to a party. I think it was a New Year's party. No, it was a summer party. It was 4th of July party. And it was one of those parties that, like, a friend of mine has a younger sister. She's like 6 years younger than us. So she was still in her party phase. Like, she was in her early 30s and she bought a house and she was like, I'm going to throw crazy parties. And so for like 5 years, she threw like a New Year's party and a 4th of July party every year. Great parties. But I was the guy that like I would go to the party, drive back to my house, get a good night's sleep, show up again in the morning and help clean up, you know, like that's me. I've known these kids for years. I knew this woman since she was like 8. So I don't know why I'm telling this story, and it's going to take forever. But so anyway, I go back, and of course, you know, some people have just passed out and they've slept there. And so after cleaning up, you know, they asked me to drive this guy home because he lives near me. I was like, yeah, no problem. I didn't know this guy, but we're having a conversation, and I know that he's the age of my friend's younger sister. You know, he's 5 or 6 years younger than I am, just because I know that he's part of her crew. But he had no idea who I was. So we were talking for like a half an hour on the drive home. This guy looks like death. You know, he's just like, he slept on the floor. You know, he's 33 years old. He slept in somebody's basement, you know, like he looks awful, chain smoking, you know, just drank like a 5th of tequila the night before, you know, and he's looking at me and he's like, yeah, so, you know, how do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm friends with their older brother. And he's like, you're friends with Eric? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, how old are you? I'm 39. He's like, holy crap. He's like, you look younger than me. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't smoke a pack of cigarettes a day and sleep in somebody's basement after drinking a 5th of tequila. like I appreciate the compliment, but you look awful for your age. Like I just look like my age. But yeah, you know, clean living, I guess. I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore. Never really did that much, but that's all it is. And good genes, I guess. All right, I want to know how old Shock is. Shock, why don't you go ahead and tell us? Oh, and by the way, we have a winner. Who's the winner? I can't see that. Starts with a Duvelman?
Did not realize I was muted. Doubleman. Doubleman?
All right, congrats.
Doubleman.
Go ahead and send me a DM. And also, Shock, tell us how old you are. Greg Kern is 44. Sauce, I was March 12th. Yeah. So you are, I'm a Pisces. You're an Aries, I guess, right? Turn 22. I got it. I said 21 to 29. Congratulations. The double deuce, 22. It's a good age. I like 22. I think 23 was really good. 24 was pretty good. And then they kind of weren't great for a while. And then like 29 was awesome. And 30 was fantastic. Man, at 30, you're a superhero. At 30, you're just like, you know, you have enough age and experience to have some wisdom, you know, enough mileage to have actually seen something. People start to respect you when you're in your 30s. You know, if they're older than you and you're like 22, they don't want to listen to you. But at 30, people actually listen to you. And you're not so old that like people who are younger than you don't think you're still, you know, like you're not hip anymore. You're not with it anymore. You're like, no, he still knows what's going on, you know? So yeah, it's great. Unless of course you had kids at 18. And then when you're 30, you're like 50, right? But then when you're 40, it's like you're 20 again because your kids move out and you're like a 40-year-old grandparent, you know, who gets to see his kids go off and you're still young and you can go do stuff. Like I had my first kid at 49. That's never going to happen. It's going to live with me until I die. 30 was the best age. 30 was literally the best age. If I could go back and freeze time, like if you could pick 1 year, this is a question I ask people sometimes. If you could pick 1 year, like one age, what age would you pick to be that age forever? You're like, okay, I'm going to be this age for 1,000 years. What age would you pick? And I would probably pick something like 31. Like 31 would be great. I would not pick like 25. I wouldn't. That would be awful. Not awful. It'd be okay. 25 would be okay. 27 forever. That's pretty good. Yeah, right, JB. There are certain years you don't remember. 35 would be okay. I think anything between about 25 and 35 is probably the right call. You know, although, you know what, to each his own. I am deafened in Discord.
You were for
Oh.
ages, not currently.
All right, I will check out the login. Let's see. See if we can get this show on the road. If it doesn't feel like I'm making that much sense, it's because I'm not. I am I'm this close to the edge, folks. Ooh, my voice is gone. I'm super sleep deprived. All right, well, that login worked. So Duvalmon, I apologize in advance. I hope this takeover works well for you. I think it'll be fine. Don't worry, buddy. It'll be fine. We'll pull it together. I'm a game day player. You know what I'm saying? I rise to the occasion. What are you looking for? What kind of takeover can I help you with today? I just realized my poll had a hole in it. It said less than 20 and then 21 to 29. So 20 wasn't actually up there. Any progression to hard dungeons or look at your 3v3 teams. Sounds good. All right. Level 99 account here. We are into the Immortal Soul Stones, which means it's been a while. Been a minute you've been playing. That's awesome. Let's check out the... Oh, no. Oh, no, red dots. Okay, let's check out the roster. Pretty good. You've got a Mishinaki. I always like to see that. You do have your Armands. Razzlevark. Got an Emic. Fantastic. Got your Mithrala, I would expect by this point. Yakarl, great. Pythion. Withers, really good champion. Underrated champion. Eric's really good. You've got your Ninja. You've got your Newt. Helikath. Nice roster. Nice roster. Got a lot of good epics here taking a 60. Ugo, Skull Crown, Maneater. You got the Genbo. I love the Genbo. The Rector Drath and the Seer. Dark in the Fat, Fane, Deacon. Dark Kale, Allure, Royal Guard. I mean, not a lot of fat here, right? Not a lot of wasted 60s. You got a double Maneater. The Geo, the Doom Priest. Seeker. I like it. Got 2 Cold Hearts. Your account looks similar to mine. I have to be honest. This looks somewhat similar to my main account. Of all the accounts I've ever taken over, this is probably the closest to mine that I've ever seen. It's not exactly the same. Like you have Kaya and Samar and Mountain King. I don't have those. You know, you have a Kaimar. I don't have a Kaimar. Efrak. But you've got a lot of the 60s that I've got. You did a lot of the same fusions that I did. You focused on a lot of the same epics that I've focused on. You've even got, you know, like I've got 2 Cold Hearts built. You've got 2 Cold Hearts built. You know, I've got a Soulbond Bowyer I use. You know, I've got a Tyrant. Actually, some of these are like, you know, champions that I've been building up recently. Just, I mean, it's really interesting. Neldor I've been building recently. It's cool. Whatever year was the year my back didn't hurt at night and I didn't make sounds standing up from sitting after a while. Yeah. Those noises started young for me, though. Play a lot of sports. I was always in pain when I was younger. Something was always broken or twisted or sprained. But it was a good pain. The kind of pain them in, you did something. All right, so we're looking at you love to see a Seer team, okay. And it's a free-to-play account. It's awesome. All right, well, we could do the Seer team and the hard dungeons together. You've got 16 million silver here. So here's the thing. I assume you're going for the fusion, the Wixwell, Vault Keeper Wixwell fusion. So I don't want to overspend on your silver because you're going to need that silver. But I do want to take a look at what you've got. And so if we can maybe build a Seer comp in some hard mode dungeon. I mean, the most likely one would be Dragon's Lair, but you could also use it in Ice Golem's Peak. Okay. All right. Is this a saved team? All right, so here's the thing about Dragon. In terms of getting past Dragon, it's actually, you should be able to do it with what you've got. You have a lot of options, but one of the things that we'd probably want to do is kind of watch the affinity, work our way up. You probably need a little more sustain here. You have Pythion. Pythion's probably the better option instead of Uko, although Uko's not bad. Actually, we could use them both, but we don't want to slow it down that much. I don't think we need the wave control entirely here. So what I would probably do is something along the lines of, where's Razzlevarg? You had Raz, right? Where is it? There. Probably do something like this for now. I mean, you can be safer. You can be safer than that, but this is probably enough. So actually, let's look. You already did stage 7. We have to do stage 8. So let's do stage 8. All right. So, so no Razzlevarg. You got different options, but I'll have to see if these champions are built. I don't know if they're built. If they're built, you're fine. We don't have an HP burn right now. We could do this. It'd be slow, but it'd be fine. That's overkill. We don't need to be that slow. We need a wave clear. We need a wave clearer. It would be pretty good. Let's see. Do we have an AoE HP burn? Who is not weak affinity? Yeah. Never. I guess it does. Let's do this. I got to see who's built them. All right, he's not built. Never mind. I want to make sure. Oh, Razzlevarg's not built. That's a problem. Emek's not built. Okay. She's built. He's not built. That's a little bit tricky. I mean, we can obviously throw some gear on some of these champions if we need to. Okay, she is built. Built. Newt's got to be built, right? All right, we'll do that. Let's just try this for now. Hey, Charles. So yeah, as far as Dragon hard mode is concerned, to a large part, it's like you need to get through the wave. So we can work on like a Seer team for that eventually. But let's just get to stage 10 first. You know, like let's get to stage 10 hard mode, and then we can worry about the comp. Because you don't have to deal with all the affinities on the way up. I know that Seer doesn't care about affinities, but the other champions do, right? So you want to like have a team that clears the waves really fast and then gets to the boss. So the great thing about Dragon is that there's not a lot of surprises. It's not very different from the normal Dragon. The thing you really need is you need to sustain through the boss, because the boss will get turns, because you can't turn meter control a dragon, right? You can't slow the dragon. And so like cleanses, block debuffs help. You know, Mithrala and Pythion should be totally fine. You go with strong affinity or neutral affinity champions. So this is why we went with Newt as the damage dealer. You know, I'd love a second AoE spirit affinity champion for the waves. Like this won't be fast, but this should be easy enough. And then the other thing is, you know, the gearing, right? Because it feels like you moved gear around a lot, maybe for Centranos or for other stuff. But you're at the point where you want all of your good champions geared all the time. They don't have to be in the best gear. They just have to be in usable pieces, in usable sets. So one of the things you can start doing is looking at like some of those champions that are maybe like in the second tier or third tier of your roster, who can provide value if they're built. Because when you unbuild a champion, basically you take them out of rotation, right? Mentally or in actuality, like practically, you take them out of rotation. And in a lot of cases, you're OP. Like your account is stronger than the content for most of the content. Not all of it, for most of the content. So you don't need like an optimally built champion in every single slot, right? You just need a functional champion in every single slot. And so you can focus on like 10 to 12 champions and really build those in crazy gear sets, and then have another 20, 25 champions who are kind of built just to be functional. And then when there's a free gear, you know, removal or whatever, you can change around their sets if you need them. But so like right now, you know, I'm just running, it's a pretty basic dungeon team, right? We've got a speed lead with a 100% AoE decreased defense. We've got a 100% AoE weaken, a 100% AoE decreased attack, right? We have both of those. We've got a cleanse. We've got two cleanses, actually. We've got a block debuff. We've got a revive. We've got heals. And we've got some AoE damage. The only thing that would make this better is if we didn't have Rathalos here, but we had some, you know, Spirit Affinity AoE nuker, or somebody who, you know, didn't require a passive in order to activate. So this should probably, like variations of this team, we'll stick with the Mithrala, and then kind of rotate everybody else around her based on affinity. If we can keep Newt in, we will, because he's going to do the work on the boss. If we can keep the Pythion in, we will. So, you know, you don't think the Deacon is built? Okay, I'll take a look at the Deacon. You should absolutely be able to do the fusion with what you got. You got 4,000 energy or something saved, you know. So if you have the shards are usually the bottleneck for free-to-play players. But if you have the shards, then it shouldn't be a problem. You definitely have the roster. Like, you're not going to have any trouble with the tournaments. You're not going to have any trouble with, you know, the dungeon divers. Champion training's always a little bit of an issue, but that's where the energy comes in. You have the energy for it, so you should be able to do that. Your arena stuff should be fine. You know, you've got enough silver to get started with. And you said you got a lot of gear to sell, so you have all the components. And I'll be doing a fusion planning video the day that the champion drops, so on Thursday. I'll do my no fail fusion plan video. Yeah, so this is going to be not a fast run, 6 minutes maybe a little bit less. A lot less. A lot less when Nuke goes off like that. And like I'm being cautious here, right? You don't have to be this cautious. But I'm going with a relatively safe team. All right, so now we're going to go up to stage 9. Stage 9 is Spirit Affinity, so we want to swap out Rathalos at the very least. Let's look at our Magic Affinity champion. So let's bring in Scylla the Drakes. Oh, I got to look at that Deacon, right? Let's look at the Deacon, make sure he's built. He's built. Okay. A little slow at 189. You should be running him at 289 if you could. But, you know, if he's not important to your roster, I understand. Some people, I don't understand. Deacon's so good. Okay, Razzlevarg. Mishinaki build. Okay, Mishinaki build. All right, let's just throw some gear on Razzlevarg. Whatever. Let's just get some gear on him. I don't know if there's going to be Savage gear, but let's see if there is. So, we want some speed boots. There are no Savage speed. Okay, so then the set starts to get, you know, probably. Okay. Razzlevarg is too good to be sidelined. Not booked. All right, whatever. We'll move on. I will move on. Let's see if we can find. All right, let's do that for now. Should be fine. Again, probably safer than we need to be. Yeah, good call. First off, Artak is just so good, right? He helps you chew through waves. He works on bosses. He's got the decrease attack. You know, the AoE HP burn activation is really the thing that makes him so valuable, right? He just, you know, helps chew through beefy lines of, you know, waves. Doesn't matter really what their HP is if they're getting hit with HP burns, right? So here, you know, we've dropped down to 1 cleanse, so we've only got the Mithrala for the cleanse, and we don't have a block debuff buff, so we might get stunned, but the passive from Scylla the Drakes should keep us alive, and everybody here is either a defensive-based or HP-based champion, right? So Newt is defense-based, Scylla the Drakes is defense-based, Mishinaki is defense-based, and Artak is HP-based. I actually don't know what Mithrala is. I don't know what I'm assuming she does her damage based on attack, but who cares, right? You build her tanky. You don't build her for damage. She does more damage through her poisons anyway. How to afford Deacon and be stunned clan boss? Not sure what you're saying, Clement. Is she defense based? She may be. Most supports that are listed as supports are attack based. Not all of them. Otherwise, they're listed as HP or defense. Like Scylla the Drakes, you know, we think of her as a support. She's actually listed as a defense champion, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so no problem here. You know, this will actually be faster than the previous one because we found a better wave clearer in Artak. And so that's where most of the delay is. Like the boss dies faster than the waves. And also Mishinaki. All right, so stage 10. So now stage 10 is Void Affinity. We could keep running the team that we're currently running. Like this team will do fine. You could look for ways to speed this up. So let's talk about Seer for a second. Now, first of all, is she built? Not built. You can put her in Instinct. You can put her in Savage. Either one would work, but you have to put her in a full set, or it's not worth even wasting a piece, right? So, you have very few Instinct pieces. Okay, so you didn't complete the, yeah, that happens. It's happened to me a couple of times. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get her into a healthy place. And what I would like to see is her like around 210 speed. You could go faster than that, but 200, call it 208. Like 208, 210 speed, 100% crit rate. She doesn't need really accuracy because you're going to be using your team's buffs. Like you don't really care about stripping buffs with her if you're using her in a dungeon team, because you're going first. They don't get their buffs up anyway. So, and we want to do Savage and Cruel if we can. So we're probably going to have to strip gear from other people. All right, so first of all, let's look for, I want gauntlets. I want good gauntlets. So let's go ahead and look for gauntlets that have a primary stat of crit damage with a substat of crit rate. And let's go for 6 stars. See what's out there. This is why you're running these in the curse set. I get it. Okay, so we're pretty limited. So there's this set that Harima is wearing. She's awesome. And then there's this set that Hefrak's wearing. Let's take a look at your Harima for a second. You not max yet? Down here. You're building. She booked. She is booked. Not bad. She's a little slow. You know, at 160, what is she? 166? She really needs to be faster. You don't have speed substats on your banner. You don't have speed substat on your chest. You don't have speed substat on your shield. And you don't have it on your weapon. So you're giving away a lot of speed here. You know, you could run her at like 190 and do pretty well, but you want her faster than that. You'd love her up around 220, you know, plus. Now, you can get 20 speed out of a good banner. You know, so the problem is holding on to the crit rate, right? Now, this only has a single crit rate roll, like a bear roll. So this would be the place where I would look. Probably I would start there and look for this. This is really nice. Look at this. This is beautiful for her. I know it's only 5 stars, but if you compare the two, right, you're going to lose a little defense. You gain speed. You gain crit rate. You do lose a little crit damage because you have 11% there. So that's actually, this one's really nice too. You're losing the accuracy, right? Yeah, a little tricky. Got Harima recently? Yeah. She's great. So I guess what I would say here is it looks like, and this is something like we could spend a lot of time on, but it looks like you're not quite in a gear position right now to make this kind of call. Like if you wanted to prioritize Seer above everything else, we could put her in gear and get her to work. Do you know what I mean? It would work fine. We could say, okay, we're going to strip all the gear off of everybody. We're going to strip it off of Hefracker. We're going to strip it off, you know, like or Harima and just take it. But it feels like you've invested a lot into Harima recently. You got her, you booked her right away. She's fully booked, which means you want this champion to work. And, you know, you got 2-star blessing on her. So you're going for it. And she's worth it, right? She's totally worth it. But that means that, you know, that's the priority, not the Seer. And you don't need the Seer for where you are. Like, you don't have to have it. I didn't run the Seer for a really, really long time. In fact, I still don't run her all that often. I run her every once in a while because she does speed some things up. But if we're looking at the dungeon, like hard modes, right, we just get here and say, okay, we can just run what we just did. And this will be a 3-minute clear, you know, or less than a 3-minute clear. So let's just go ahead and run it, and we'll see how it does. And then you can decide, you know, if you need something significantly faster. Now, if you do decide to go with a Seer comp, you're going to want a reset champion. So you're going to want Kymar built and speed tune, right? Like he's going to be key to it. And then what you have to decide is, do the champions stay alive against the boss, or do you just let them die and then you solo the boss with, you know, Artak or somebody like that? Or, you know, do you kill him with Newt and the reset champion? So, you know, again, I'm going a little bit safer than I probably need to here. We could potentially pull out Scylla the Drakes and put in, you know, somebody else for additional damage. But this is going to be nice and reliable. It's not going to be that slow. You know, Newt and Artak are not super slow. And Mishinaki is not that slow either. He's pretty good. But so the Seer comp is, you need speed tuned, you need a reset champion, you need the debuffs out, and then you need the buffs on your own team. So Seer clears the waves, and then you need a boss killer. And the boss killer is probably going to be Newt or Artak, right? Like these are different styles of boss killer. Newt, direct damage, hits really hard. Artak, HP burn, activation, you know, is a grinder. So, you know, you could decide what you wanted to do there. But Mithrala is great to pair up with Seer because she gives a lot of buffs. As far as the debuffs are concerned, you know, Newt can still work because he's got the AoE weaken. But you probably want an AoE drop defense. Preferably if you could get those on the same champion, same skill, that'd be the best. Because then the reset works for the debuffs as well. I use Lydia for that. I don't know if you have Lydia. I didn't check. Ooh, Scylla the Drake's just dropped. And we lost Newt. Mithrala and regen. Gonna solo this, I think. She did. She soloed the last bit of it. Okay, so not as safe as I thought it was gonna be. This is a really good build for Mishinaki. I like this. Right? You've got almost 5k defense, maybe a little bit high on defense and a little bit low on HP. Like if you're going to rebalance this, you know, if you could pull, you know, 500-600 defense out of here and put in another 7 to 10,000 HP, that would be better. I would love to have him up around 60,000, maybe 4k defense, but still really good at 5k defense. I wouldn't like make major moves to make that happen. Speed is good right where you want to be, 218. That's great. You know, if you could get a little more speed out of them, that'd be fine. You know, if you have like some weak lifts or if you have a piece that can be upgraded, you know, like, okay, I could get it. But this is good. See where Scylla the Drake's is. Yeah, a little bit slow. A little bit slow. In Relentless. Might look, you know, like at the very least, look to replace the accuracy with perception. And maybe you'll be able to get a little bit more speed out of her again if you could get her up to 220, 225. She's better at like 250. Right? That's actually where you want to run her, 250, 260. But as long as you can get up to like 220-ish or so, I mean, right now she's running at 205, a little bit slow. Right? Even in Relentless, you want to be running her fast. Accuracy is also low. Right? If you're going to use her for her AoE stun here, you need 225 accuracy. So she's a little bit low on that at 195. So an accuracy banner, maybe with speed. By the way, Slayer is not like huge on her, right? Like you don't care about her crit rate. So this should belong on a damage dealer. Let's see if we have a... So yeah, unfortunately, that's the only one. Okay. So a new banner for Scylla the Drakes would help a lot. And then maybe perception here, if you could find it. I mean, she's not bad, right? She's definitely usable. Mishinaki is really good. Let's see Mithrala. Okay. So regen and immortal on Mithrala is an interesting choice. Do you have her in an accuracy chestplate? You have her an HP chestplate with accuracy ascension. Interesting. This is an interesting build. When I say it's interesting, by the way, that's not a euphemism for bad. I'm not saying it's a bad build. It's interesting to me because this is not how I run my Mithrala at all. So one of the important things about Mithrala is that she has this passive, which increases this champion's resistance. The amount by which it is increased is equal to the amount of accuracy this champion has. So the more accuracy she has, the more resistance she has, which is really important because she's a cleanser. So I run mine really tanky, but I run her really accurate. She has like 600 accuracy. I run her in 3 sets of perception. So she doesn't have the regen. She does have a huge HP pool. I think mine probably has 75 or 80,000 HP like yours does. And about the same speed. I'd say mine's maybe like 10 speed faster. Maybe 8 speed faster. I think mine runs around 268, something like that. Your Mithrala solos Bommel. Gotcha. I mean, you probably have other Bommel solutions. You have Lugan. Lugan's a solo champion. He can solo. Oh, I'm sorry. He solos Scarab, not Bommel. Yeah, okay. I mean, she won't solo Bommel if you swap her out of regen, that's for sure. I mean, you have Vogoth. Carl is really good for Bommel because he freezes the bombs, which reduces their impact. And then you have a Vogoth. So those two champions right there. I mean, you also have a Vrask. You've got a Doom Priest. You've got a Cylinder. Like, you got ways to get past a Bommel, I think, that wouldn't require you to sacrifice Mithrala for it. Yeah, I think you could definitely detach Mithrala from your Bommel if you wanted to. So yeah, what I would probably do is I would rebuild her because she is so good in so many places, right? And really what you want for her, first of all, is you want her to be accurate enough to land everything on everybody all the time. She's void affinity, so she'll only miss that 3% of the time, right? She'll be resisted 3% of the time. But enough accuracy for Doom Tower hard mode floor 120. Like enough for stage 10 of every hard mode dungeon. Right. And so if you go to the raid stages tool, let me see if I can find that now. All right. So raid stages tool. We're going to go to dungeons. Doesn't matter which dungeon, but Dragon's Lair, hard, stage 10. You need an accuracy of 345. That's actually not as high as I thought it was going to be. So maybe Doom Tower. Or 120. No. Still not that high. I mean, I use mine for PvP, so. $475. Yeah. So it's not that bad. Not that bad. But let me see. But the resistance is the other thing, right? Like because when you push her accuracy, you also push her resistance. So here you need 655 resistance. It's like you're not going to get that just through resistance. You're going to get that through accuracy. So you're going to try to get 500 accuracy and maybe 150 resistance, that kind of thing. But yeah, so I typically I want to use her everywhere. I use her in Hydra. So you want that accuracy. And again, like if you could push 700 accuracy, that's not unreasonable on this champion. Because that means 700 resistance, right? That means PvP. All right, let's take a look at your spiders. Let's bring an AoE HP burner in. Our attack is great. And again, we're going to need to make sure we have the accuracy on these champions. So let's check our attack first of all. at 283, which is not high enough. Because we said 355, right? You need to get to 355 on this guy. Speed's okay. Yeah, without Rathalos being booked, a little bit trickier. Let me see. Who else? Do you have another AoE HP burner? Takeoff might be able to do it. Ooh, excuse me. All right, so the way to do this is really to kill the spiderlings as fast as possible. Just crush waves of spiderlings. AoE Hex can be really valuable because that spreads damage. Could do this. Because where's Artak? Where did we say Artak was? So that gets him where he needs to be. That gets him over 355. Where's Newt at? He's high enough. She's high enough. And now we just need to do damage to the waves. And then maybe this. How's our Kaimar looking? Not bad. 252 with 406 accuracy. Not too shabby. Let's see how this works. I'm going to manual this for a second. So we want to open with the Hex. And then let's get the HP burns out there. And now we want to do the weaken. Now we're going to nuke everything. That's pretty good. Unfortunately, Newt is kind of slow here, but we'll take that. Sleep off. We'll do the reset. Do the A. Actually, let's do the A1. See if we can get a decreased defense there. Nice. Again with the AoE HP burn. Again with the AoE Hex. Now we use the big nuke on the boss. Done. 12 turn. And there's a nice banner. All right. So let's do that on a setup and see how that works. So let's try that again. Let's do All right, so let's look at this. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to use this as the first choice. We need Prince Kaimar to open with his A1. This needs to be the first choice. I think we need this as the opener. That's the first. I think that's it. I think that'll do. So we're up to stage 7, right? Okay. Let's try that. You use some more gem curse for bomb? We'll gotcha. So this team is really based around the idea that we nuke down the boss fast because we don't have enough sustain. Kind of missed that. It didn't feel like things were in the right order there, but okay. Newt's weak affinity, that's why, okay. I think we'll still be fine. So what's going to happen here is we're going to run into a speed cap. We're going to become too slow. And that's where those speeds I was talking about before are really helpful. Additionally, like a speed boost, you know, like a speed aura or an increased speed champion could be really valuable here. You know, one of the things that we lack is an AoE decrease defense. So, you know, that Deacon Armstrong can come back in. He's actually great against, he's really good against Spider Hard mode. People are like, you never use Deacon at endgame. I'm like, you can. He could be great. You know, and he would alleviate some of the issue with the speed. The problem is the accuracy, right? If we trade out Mithrala's accuracy buff to bring in a speed buff, we get fast enough, but now we lose our accuracy, and we need both. So you can kind of play around and see, you know, where do you have the leeway in your gear? Do you have it in the speed? Do you have it in the accuracy? You know, perception sets are going to be your friend for a lot of these champions. Regen, I get regen gear. Like, I do get it. I understand why that's attractive. And you have Artak in regen, you have Mithrala in regen, and there are solutions available to you based on those specific champions in those builds. But I think as an all-around build for Mithrala, at least, you know, you maybe want to get her out of regen. Artak is fine to keep in regen if he's hitting the accuracy. If he's not hitting the accuracy, then the regen doesn't work, because to have him as a solo champion, he needs to land his HP burns. If he doesn't land his HP burns, he is pointless. You know, so moving forward, you want to think about that. Now, you can also get stats out of your Great Hall. You can get stats out of your area bonuses. You know, so you can look at those as well. So this is going pretty well. Spirit Affinity should be good. We lose damage from Rathalos, but Artak and Kaimar will hit harder. The speed is the issue. You see how fast that was? That boss is way fast now. And unfortunately, we don't have it. Like I said, we don't have the kind of team that has built-in sustain. We're not really doing that, right? What we're doing is we're trying to blow up the boss before the boss really goes too many times. Preferably doesn't go at all or only goes once. You know, but if the boss gets 3 or 4 turns, we're going to be done. Now, maybe depending on the cycle here, Mithrala and Artak might be able to get the job done by themselves. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think they're fast enough. Those two champions could do it. You know, in regen gear at like 250 speed, they could probably do it just fine. Maybe Newt's got enough here for this boss. We just need to get around one more cycle. Gonna get good damage there off the AoE HP burns. That was unfortunate. If those spiderlings had died, right, they would have killed the boss. But instead the boss ate them and healed. And that's just a matter of speed. That's all that is. If we had, 15, 20 more speed on each of our champions, we'd be totally fine. Like I said, these two are extremely dangerous because you got the AoE heck. Oh, jeez. And now the boss is back to full health. All right, that was really irritating. Let's pull. Let's pull Rathalos out of there. And we'll put Mishinaka back in. If that's enough. Now we got a strong affinity damage dealer instead of a weak affinity damage dealer. We still don't have much speed, but Mishinaki is pretty fast. I think he's running, what did we say? It was like 217, 218, something like that. Come on, we can do this. Man, I'm dragging. That's irritating. Come on. We're so close. It really is just a few speed. You can see it in the cycle. Like we just fall behind a little bit. And a turn meter filler would solve the problem. Looks like we might get through here anyway. Razzlevarg would work. Razzlevarg would be beautiful. All right, well, we got through that one. All right, now we're at stage 10. So stage 10 obviously is void affinity, so you don't have the opportunity to bring in any strong affinity champions. So you want to think about that. And a slow on the boss, I think the boss can be slowed but can't be turn meter controlled, if I remember correctly. Yeah. No, immune to decreased speed. All right, never mind. The question kind of becomes is the increased speed more valuable than the reset? Now, Raz wasn't built, right? Let's see. Got some 6-star speed boots in the perception set. So these are boots that should be going on champion. That could be very, very helpful. This is really... Pull this up a little bit. Speed or accuracy? Avoid the HP. One more. Speed. Accuracy. That's nice. Actually, really nice. 185. Not too bad. 800. Just occurred to me, I was avoiding all the crit rate, but we need crit rate on Razzlevarg. Oh well, okay, this is fine for now. We're using him more as a enabler than anything else. Okay, good to know. Yeah, so Razzlevarg's a damage dealer, but he's also an engine, right? He's one of those champions, like a Deacon Armstrong, like an Arbiter, like a Seeker, champions that push your team. Haikatoon, and he does that. He's a really, really good champion for this. So not only does he have the speed aura of 20% in all battles, which is nice, 1% higher than like Haikatoon or Deacon, but he's also got this increased speed, and then he gets faster based on his passive. So every time he lands that increased speed, he goes faster. Now, he's not booked, but we're going to see if this does the job here at stage 10 to just get us around to some of the other champions' skills faster. So we're going to get an increased speed, hopefully, now. And if we land the leech, that would be nice. I don't know that we will. All right, so see how Razzlevarg actually nuked out the Spiderlings pretty well there, which is not bad. We want that to happen. You want to have that direct damage come out. Now Artak's going to do his HP burns. So if Razzlevarg was in a this was just a really quick kind of crappy build I put him into. Look at that. 13 turns, 47 seconds, stage 10, right? So we needed the accuracy from Mithrala. The speed from Razzlevarg is actually more valuable than the reset from Kymar in this particular case. But additionally, he also brings an extra nuke, right? He brings an extra AoE nuke that helps you clear those spiders, because Kymar doesn't really hit that hard. So you're basically bringing in 4 damage dealers here, so it's like a support damage dealer in Razzlevarg. And that speed really allows the other champions to just get faster than the boss. But you could alleviate this issue and not have to we did a little dance here. It's not bad. It's not bad. 47 seconds, 13 turns. It's not bad. I don't know if it's 100%. It's probably 95%, but there's probably a resist at the wrong time could throw you off. 3% resist could throw you off. But this is certainly workable for now. If you get that Mithrala, faster, you get her into perception, you get some extra speed on your damage dealers here. And, looking at your roster, what I'm seeing some champions who are built for end game or close to end game, and then some champions who are really built for mid game. And they're not in bad builds. I don't want to say that, but this Scylla of the Drakes build is this is a mid game build, right? This is 5-star gear, chest piece, weapon, gauntlet. Accuracy is not an end game set. You know, you've got this kind of suboptimal, you know, banner on it. And now you can say, okay, well, Scylla the Drakes is a mid-game champion. She doesn't need to be in end-game gear. But what I'm seeing is, as I look through your champions, I see this, you know, in a lot of cases, either you've stripped champions like this, or you've got a champion who's like in an okay, like this is another one. This is a really good mid-game build. 182 speed, you know, 400 accuracy sets, perception sets, good, you know, defense, 4K. It's like a late mid-game build. The problem is, as you push into end game, speed becomes so important and accuracy becomes so important. So you may need to say, do I need all of the survivability that I have? Do I need the 5K defense? Do I need the 4K defense? Do I need the 70,000 HP or the 80,000 HP? Some cases you will, you know, and in other cases you'd be like, no, I need to scale this back a little bit. I need to give away a little defense. I need to give away a little resistance, whatever it is, to pick up accuracy, to pick up speed. And I think the trickiest thing here is you don't have an engine, right? Like Deacon could be your engine, but then you need to run him not at 189, but 289. Haikatoon could be your engine, but then you can't run her at 130. You need to run her at, you know, 330, right? So when I say engine, I mean that champion that really pushes the speed of everybody else and it just alleviates the stat burden. The two best options I think you have are Razzlevarg and Deacon. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. I mean, Zinogre is not bad either, but she's not built, right? She's not there yet. So, you know, Razzlevarg's naturally a little bit more of an endgame champion than Deacon is. Obviously, he's a legendary, but he's harder to book. You don't have him booked, right? Deacon, obviously, book, right? You're missing that, but who cares? You know, so what I would say is get him into maybe 2 sets of perception and 1 of speed. Get him a really nice banner. Get him up to 270, 280, 290, 355 accuracy. He's your lead for all of the dungeons. That alleviates the speed burden on everybody else. That allows you to run everybody else instead of at, you know, 220 to 240. It allows you to get away with that 190 to 210 kind of range that you're running a lot of these champions in. And then the other thing would be any champion that doesn't have speed in their banner, you want to focus on that. Get speed into their kits by getting speed onto their banner, right? Double rolls, triple rolls. The speed may be more important than the main stat. For your debuffers, obviously, you need accuracy. You know, you have to have that. But like if you have a defensive-based champion, let's say you had, you know, let's say you have Scylla the Drake. Scylla the Drakes, you need accuracy. Let's say, here you go. Let's say you had Rathalos, right? And you're like, well, I want an attack banner, you know, but he's running 15 speed too slow. You can put him in a defense banner that has a triple roll into speed rather than an attack banner that has a single roll into speed, right? It's like the speed is more important than the stats, any of the other stats. So, you know, think about those kinds of swaps in order to get your people into the right speeds. This is a really nice speed, right? This Pythion's running at 238. That's nice. I like that. Could you push it more? Yeah. But this is that approaching end game kind of speed that you need. Doesn't need accuracy, right? So it's all right. Let's see. Can I get even more speed out of this? Yeah, I got a 6-star boot in the speed set. I know you do, by the way. You got this one, right? So we're like, okay, let's look at this. Let's try that on, right? So that didn't change our speed, but now we've got a speed set there. Now we're looking at the other pieces and we're like, okay, you know, let's think about what we can potentially pull out of here, right? So let's look for something that has a speed substat. Doesn't matter what piece it is. Literally doesn't matter, but we want it in the speed set. And let's go ahead and prioritize stats based on speed. And let's just find the next free piece. Here's a weapon. Only 11 speed. chess piece, 11 speed. 10 speed here on this. 10 speed on that. I mean, you could glyph these, right? Because these are already glyphed. Or you can look at one of these champions and say, somebody up here is not that important. Maybe, Tatura Rhymehide. You're like, oh, hey, I can get, the defense here. And now you look, now you've got her at 257. I'm sorry, Python is him. You got him at 257. You got more defense. You're traded away 13,000 HP, picked up 500 defense, and you picked up almost 20 speed. Plus, maybe you can glyph a little bit better, or you can get, let's go look at that banner. Let's see, what Python's running. No speed on the banner, and accuracy doesn't play for Python. So look for anything else here. So HP, we go with this. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get into speed in the first roll or two. Yeah, but still, here's another 6 speed. Trade away that accuracy, get some of that HP back, right? Now you're looking at 4K defense, 263 speed. This is where you need to be, right? Granted, if you were going to use Python primarily as a cleanser, what you'd really want is a resistance banner and maybe a resistance chess piece, get that resistance up to 400, but you have Mithrala for that, right? Remember, you put her in an accuracy, she gets resistance. So she's really the cleanser and he's more the block debuffer and the reviver. This is where you need to be running him, 260. And it's not that hard. Look, it's just a few swapped pieces, and you can go further. You can swap, find another speed piece, right? Get that helmet and that chest plate in the right set, focus on that speed, get him up to 280. Now you're running Python at 280. That's an end game build. 4K defense, 85,000 HP, 285 speed. There you go. So you have gear to get some of these champions into end game builds. And what I would say is, you're running, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 95-ish 6 stars, right? 95-ish 6 stars. But I would say, focus on, like I said, 10 or 12, get those 10 or 12 into really end game builds. Focus on the champions that give you value in all places. Mithrala, Python, Artak, Armons, Mishinaki. Pick your 10 to 12 Newt, pick your 10 to 12 Kymar. Get them maxed out, optimized to the gills. And then get all of the next bunch of people in usable endgame builds. That means their defense might lag behind. Their HP might lag a little bit behind. But what can't lag behind is accuracy and speed. Those are the two stats that you always need to have in the right place. And if they don't require accuracy, great. Then just make sure they've got the speed. And if you need crit rate, the 100% crit rate, get that. So Razzlevarg here, he doesn't, accuracy is good. Right? Accuracy is good because he's got this leech, but he doesn't actually need accuracy to work at endgame. You don't need the leech, right? What you need is the increased speed. By the way, that increased accuracy also helps, right? Increased accuracy buff makes it easier for other people to run a little bit shy of their accuracy. So he's great for that as well, So I think Razzlevarg should be in your roster at the endgame. If I were going to pick the 12 champions, I'm just going to say, okay, who are you going to run PvE and PvP? I think your arena team is probably Arbiter, Deacon, Wukong, Hefrak. I think that's the team. You could certainly put in Kymar for Wukong. If you want, you can have him there instead. And if you don't want Hefrak, you've got your Genbo. Right? So you've got your options there. But I think you can pick 4 to 5 of those for PvP. And then, for PvE, the nice thing is if you pick Wukong or if you pick Kymar, those PvP builds will work in PvE as well. And then, I think you've got, Razzlevarg, Artak, Newt, and maybe Ninja as your damage dealers and Mishinaki, that's more than enough. I wouldn't worry about Rathalos. I'd probably leave them off the list. Now, one of the things here is like Mishinaki, Artak, and Ninja are all magic affinity. So if you're like, no, I really want a force affinity, well, I think that's where your Harima comes in. I think she's your magic affinity. I'm sorry, for your force affinity damage dealer more than Rathalos. Although Rathalos pairs well with Artak. So it's up to you, really. So maybe you'd leave Ninja out, you know. Like, Eric's is great, but again, not booked yet. You probably want to stay, you know, Rathalos not booked yet. Razelvarg also not booked yet. Armand's not booked yet. A little bit tricky. But I think you need, if you don't want to build Razelvarg, I think you need to build Deke. Because you need that engine. All good champs, by the way. Like I said before, I don't think you've wasted any builds here. You know, like, it's a pretty lean account. You're in a really good spot. Yeah. Let's look at your 3v3 really quickly. Okay, so offense and defense is different in 3v3, right? In defense, you can use champions like Emic and Wither and, you know, go like more defense, like even Bible of the Thorn, like go more defensive, Drexthar, because the goal is to discourage attacks, really. Like, if you get attacked, you're probably getting beat. Do you know what I mean? You're not like trying to trick people into attacking you in Tag Team Arena. You're just like, all right, I want them to avoid. Right? I want them to look at me and be like, oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt. So, you know, bring out your tanky champions, and you can do that on defense. On offense, it's different. You want to win, and you want to win relatively quickly. So, for instance, I'm looking at your third team here. Should have done this earlier. Sorry, guys. Done that way early. Okay, so I'm looking at the third team here. This third team might win fights, right? But it's really slow, right? You have a Reviver, you have an HP Soaker, you have a straight up tank, and then you have a defensive base damage dealer. By the way, Vogoth and UDK don't work well together. So I would separate those two. Because UDK is taking the hits away from Vogoth, so Vogoth's actually not healing your team. And Vogoth's not healing UDK because UDK is taking a hit. So the only time that works is if you're up against an AoE team, in which case UDK is not that valuable anyway. So I would probably pull Vogoth out of here. I definitely think Mithrala should be on a team. I think potentially Yakarl should be on a team. Let's see. Okay, so this is, let's try this. Let's make a 2 go first teams. Let's do, this was the team that I was talking about before. All right, so if you did this, now again, you have to build Deacon and get him fast enough, but I think this is great because now you have the AoE increase attack, the AoE drop defense, the AoE buff strip, and the AoE nuke. Boom. Beautiful. If your Arbiter is running over 300, then you're in good shape there. If she's not, at 259, well, you don't have boots on her. $318. There you go. So, you know, I would probably use this boot here, actually. I would use this one. But yeah, if you're running her at 318, 320, you know, like that's fine for 3v3. it's probably still a little bit slow for where you are in terms of your account. Like your arbiter should probably be running at like 340 to 360. But that can be tricky because you're also trying to accomplish all these other things. And like you said, you took a break here. So, I do think looking for a banner that has a triple roll into speed, you're going to get another 15 speed out of that. Put your big glyph on it when you do, by the way. Like if you, I don't know, let's say you use this banner and you double roll into speed and you end up with like 17 speed, put a 5-star, 6-star glyph on it, get another 5 to 8 speed. Like invest in that early. Here's one. This one's even better, right? Like this one's even better. Go ahead and see if you roll into this. And if you get a triple roll, or a really good double roll, maybe you end up with 18 on a double roll. You can do that. Go ahead and throw a big glyph on it and put that on your arbiter. Get her an additional 20 speed. And then you're in really good shape here. So this, this team is awesome. Again, you could put Kymar there, that's fine. Kind of like that actually. But what I would probably do with the Kymar team is I would use. You actually have 3 really good speed teams, right? So now the question with Kymar is like, what do you do? What do you do with the Kymar? And probably with a Kymar team, I would look for big nukes because you have a reset. So find your hardest hitting AoE nuker outside of Hefrak. Maybe do that. You want an increased attack champion. Hey, Piper. My dog just came in to say hey. Yeah, I might do this. That's another go first team, right? Got the increased attack, the decreased defense, the weaken, the nuke. And then here you got a third one. And this could be. Oh, this could be something like this. Right? So it's a CC control and speed team. So you have the AoE stun, the turn meter reduction, you have the petrification, you have the freeze on top of it, right? Like the enemy team literally never gets a chance to go. Now, maybe because of the way that this team works, you want to do something like this. Maybe you want a buff strip here. Especially for stone skins. That could be worthwhile. And then here you would probably put, well, you could do a lot of things in that spot. You could do a lot of things in that spot. Maybe that. Maybe this. This. I still like this. I think I would probably go with that. I mean, you could bring in Mishinaki here too. And then if you don't like this, if you'd rather like stack, you could do something like this instead. And just like speed around and keep going and do a lockdown there. And then in this case, you would go more defensive and you do maybe something like this. Like if you're going to go for a defensive team, do something kind of like, let me just make sure Mishinaki's aura is all battles. Yeah, 30% defense aura in all battles. Whoops. Okay. So in this case, you've got the Mishinaki with the aura. Eric's has the AoE stun. You have the Mithrala, who's got the cleanse plus, so she's really the cleanser. The Pythion is the block debuff champion and the reviver. And this is just a team that's bringing damage through a defensive team, so the synergies are much better. So you have this kind of setup. All of those could be flexed. Do you know what I mean? Like come in here and set up all those teams. And then what you can do is you can just kind of say, okay, I think my go first team is going to beat this go first team. I think that my go first team here is going to beat this team. Oh, my go first team isn't going to beat this team. This team is too tanky to take down with the go first team. So I'm going to bring in my defensive team instead, which is going to sustain but have more damage. You know what I mean? You can do that. Avoid Lydia's with like your Sun Wukong. You don't want Sun Wukong walking into Lydia. Like that's a thing that you want to avoid. That kind of thing. But you have the roster. Like the roster is not a problem. You have plenty of really good options here for 3v3 teams. I would say, again, things that you want to focus on are in arena. You need the accuracy to make sure that you land your debuffs. You need the speed to make sure that you're going first or at least coming around fast enough that if they go first, it's not like forever. You don't want them lapping you. If they go twice to every turn you get, it doesn't matter if they're weaker than you are. They're just going to beat you. So I think it's the same thing. I think gearing ultimately is going to be what's going to affect your progress for the next 3 months, right? Focusing on that speed, focusing on that accuracy. And by the way, getting in here and getting your stats here too, right? Get these accuracies all the way up, right? Get the defenses up, get the HPs up. Like those are the 3 that you want to focus on. So get your accuracies there. And if you need to come in here and you're like, okay, I want to do that spider, right? I want to get that spider 10 hard mode just on farm and make sure I'm not screwed with. And like speed is an issue. Come in here and get 4 or 6 speed. Like spend a little time in live arena. Get a little bit of accuracy. Get a little bit of crit damage or ignore defense. You don't need a ton. Sometimes it's a state change, right? It's like you're 2 speed too slow. You pick up 4 speed. Now you're 2 speed faster than you need to be. Perfect. So like it could be that kind of situation. So, the fact that you don't have many area bonuses is you're giving away something here. You have the champions to go into live arena and at least play into like silver 2, say, and just get your 40 to 50% win rate, get your chests, get your crests, and come in here and every week, get 1 or 2 of these. And like, for these, not for the affinity bonuses, but for the area bonuses, feel free to go horizontally. Like you don't need to get everything to level 1 first and then go to level 2s if you want. Unless you really know you want to focus on speed or accuracy. Yeah. All right. So I think you're in a good space, Duvamon. This is a great account. Like I said, it actually looks a lot like my account in terms of champions and some of the builds that you've got going on. But the big difference is when you stepped away and you came back, right? Like you've been pulling champions. You haven't been pulling gear as much. You really need to focus on gear. I would say the three sets you're going to really want to focus on. One is make sure you get into the forge and you're doing this perception set. I would roll all of this perception gear. Make sure you're getting into faction crypts and get as much of this bloodstone as you need to just roll all of this gear. And go ahead and use your mythical charms on perception gear. You want speed substats, you want accuracy substats, you want crit rate substats and crit damage on those champions where, like Wukong can be great in a perception set with damage. Do that. The other set that you probably want to focus on in Doom Tower is going to be when the Dark Fae rolls around. All right, you want to get on that, is it Fatal Gear or Lethal Gear? I always forget what it's called. It's lethal gear. So the lethal gear. Get as much of this as you can. get as many pieces as you can. So this is going to be the second one that you're going to want to focus on. And then the third one that you're going to want to focus on is getting into the Dragon's Lair, especially when there's like a 3-time speed thing, right? So speed, perception, lethal gear. Those 3 sets are, and yeah, all the other sets will come along. You know what I mean? You'll get Forge sets, you'll get the Rathalos set, Slayer set, whatever. You'll get, some Merciless from Cintranos. All of those can play. But these are the 3 you're going to want to farm. Speed, perception, lethal. Farm those 3. For this particular rotation of Doom Tower, if you needed, to farm anything in particular, I would probably farm the Griffin for Guardian gear, which could help you in some places. I don't think it's critical for where your account is right now, but it's never a bad set to have. So that's an option for some places too. You have any questions? Any questions about what to do next? Yeah, it may feel like a lot, but you're in a great spot. You're in a great spot. You've got a great roster. So I think as long as you're consciously moving your expectations towards the end game. When you look at your roster, I'm seeing an end game roster, but I'm not seeing end game gearing yet. And it may just be that you've been in the mid game for so long. You stepped away, you came back, you were relearning stuff and all that. It's like you've just been making do with what you have. But you have enough gear to put on just enough champions to really push some things into end game. I mean, we got Spider 10. It's done. Right? 47 seconds, 13 turns. You should be living here. This is where you should be farming. But it's not quite, you could see how we were kind of teetering. This should be really clean. Like you should be able to gear to get this really clean. And it's going to be the same thing with Dragon. These are the 2 most important ones to get to 10. That's why I did that. We don't care about Ice Golem that much. I'm sure that you can push some stages. You definitely have some champions, even the ones that you're using in Dragon. You could use your Dragon team here. Think Mithrala and Artak. Those are the 2 most important ones, right? Because you want to use those HP burns. For Fire Knight's Castle is different, but Razzlevarg is going to really help you here. Razzlevarg is going to be great here, and then your Carl and Blizzar, right? You have those 2 champions, so you've got the champions you need, and Newt. So literally, yeah. So the thing that I would change here probably, like if I were going to set up a team for this, I would probably start with Razzlevarg in the lead, and then you want your Carl, Blizzar, and Newt. And that's probably your team. Something like that. That should be more than enough. Boss should never go. But again, speeds matter, accuracy matters. You can't push those until you get, you can't push those stages until you get those things solved. So this would be Fire Knight. Now, if you ever get Lady Mikage, you replace Farrakhan with Lady Mikage, But this team should do fine against the waves, right? You have the AoE lockdowns with the freezes. You get plenty of time to burn through them. And you have enough damage. I mean, this is basically 5 damage dealers, so you're going to be good there. Yeah, and what I would do is bookmark the video. When the video, when we finish and it goes to, it's going to be in the playlist. It's going to be in the Takeover Tuesday playlist. Just bookmark that video, come back, watch it a few times, go through it slowly. Like, pick your progress. It doesn't all have to happen at the same time. Be, forgiving of yourself, right? A lot of times we're all optimizers and min-maxers and we get all obsessed with like, oh, well, he said I could do this and he said I can do this and we got to do these 10 things. It's like, you don't need to do all of it. Focus on 1 or 2 champions first, right? And like the next bunch of legendary tomes that you get, the next time, like pick 1 champion that you think I wanna, take this champion to the next level. Now I know you've got Harima coming up. I'm not trying to discourage you from doing that. I think she's awesome, right? Find a place to use her. But, we're okay. What's our next legendary champion? What's the next champion that we're going to book? Right? And it's like we have Armand, who's not booked. We have Razelvarg, who's not booked. Right? We have Eric's, who's not booked. There was somebody else. I think Yakarl was booked, right? Yakarl was booked. Python? Physics is not booked. Okay. So it's like pick one of these champions that you think can move the needle and go all in on that champion. Gear, books, masteries, blessing, whatever. Do it all. And honestly, I feel like Razelvarg's that champion for you. I think he's going to help with all of those things. He's going to give you that speed aura in all battles. He's going to give you that increased speed, be that engine. He's going to give you the multi-hitters. He's going to be, doing damage. So I think he's a really good choice. But if you don't feel that way, that's fine because you have a really good other option who's an epic and is cheaper, right? So if you're like, oh, you know what? I already have him here. This is really just about gear, right? Get his masteries, get his gear. Then I don't have to invest the legendary books. That's fine, right? And then we say, okay, we do Deacon instead. And that allows us to instead focus on Eric's or focus on, Rathalos or focus on whoever it is that you want to focus on to get those books into. But do one or two legendaries, just focus on the next one or two legendaries and optimize everybody that you've already got built. Anybody who's got full books should be fully optimized. Pythion's hugely important. Awesome endgame champion, right? Literally can be like the cornerstone of so many teams. Mithrala, God tier, Artak, God tier, so like focus on the champions that you need. And also think about the skill sets, right? Like maybe Vizix is actually more important than some of these other champions because she's got that AoE slow. She's got that AoE provoke. She's got that turn meter control on the A1. She's going to help you in a lot of places. She's going to help you in Dark Fae. She's going to help you in Hydra. Maybe that's the way to go. And again, I'm not saying that you have to. I'm just saying that's how you want to think about it. Like it's almost the same question as who do I 6-star next? Now you've got all these 6-stars, but you don't have them booked. So the who do I 6-star next is really, it becomes who do I book next, right? It's the same exact question. And you go about it the same exact way. Think about value in many, many places. You're a free-to-play player. I'm a free-to-play player. Every champion we build has to give us value in lots of places or do one job so incredibly well that they solve it forever, right? And then you never have to build another champion for it. All right. Yeah, then don't worry about Lady Mikage. I mean, Farrakhan the Fat will do the job for you for a long time. He's very good. And there are other ally attackers that you can get, that you might pull that might be valuable. But Farrakhan the Fat is absolutely fantastic. He's going to be good for Fire Knight hard mode. You don't need more than that. Yeah. All right, so that is it for Duvelmon today. Holy cow, it's 3:15. Okay. All right, so you are very welcome. And keep me updated. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, I have 45 minutes. I got to be done at 4 o'clock today. So I have 45 minutes. So if anybody is interested in a quick takeover for one thing, you want an arena team built, you want, spider team built. You're looking for not a Hydra team, not a clan boss. You're looking for a dungeon or an arena team, or you want to rebuild on a champion or something. If you're looking for that kind of takeover, that's the takeover that I'm going to offer here because I am done at 4 o'clock. It is 3:16 right now. So we're going to reset the wheel. We're going to do it right now. Son, are you there?
Already reset.
All right. So the wheel is reset. So here's the thing. Remember, you can only win one takeover every 90 days. So if a quick 40-minute takeover doesn't sound like it's going to get the job done for you, or you need help with clan boss, or you need help with Hydra or something, don't react. to the message. Don't do it. Because if you win, you're not going to get another takeover for 90 days. But if a quick dungeon rebuild, a quick, help me get Fire Knight 25. If that's what you're looking for, then go ahead and do that. And we'll give it like 3 minutes, and then we'll pull it at 3:20. At 3:20, we will get the next takeover. I like this account. It's kind of a fun account.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same champions. I still don't have my Kaimar. I still don't have a Kaimar. Kaimar has been avoiding me. I have Kaimar on other accounts, but I don't have him here. Same thing with Skartaurus I have on other accounts. I have Countess Lix on other accounts. I don't have Kaya on any account. And I don't have Samara the Gem Cursed on any account. I have every other champion on one account somewhere. But I've never pulled a Kayar or a Samar. I'm trying to think if I've ever pulled a Hefrak. I think I've pulled it. I've pulled all of these. Yeah. Pulled all of these. I have gotten to that point though where like there are far fewer legendaries I've never pulled than that than I have pulled somewhere. But the void legendaries are the ones I'm really missing. I've never pulled a Bellinor, I don't think. So it's like on all of my accounts across the board, I've probably only ever pulled maybe 15 void legendaries. Not the number of champions, because for instance, I pulled Tamisha 3 different times. So, like, I don't mean that. I mean 15 unique void legendaries who aren't guaranteed champions like Arbiter and Vizix and Yukarl and Mithrala and Lydia. One more minute. Remember, it's going to be a short one. Make sure you have your login info ready. Let me get out of here so I can be ready to plug that in. Count. Still like 50 or 60 people are interested in even a short takeover. Yeah, I definitely, Destania, I've had that champion. I've had champions follow me around. That's for sure. I've also had champions avoid me on multiple accounts. All right, pull it. Spin that wheel. Who is it? DDSD's Banana. Now, I know...
DDS, who's already been a winner.
Yeah. Was it in the last 90 days? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, they still have the rolls, so...
Oh, wait. Here... Was...
What?
No, okay. So these, you won on February 27th.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it hasn't been 90 days. It's been like not even 45 days. It's been about 45 days. It's been half the time. So we're gonna respin.
Yep. And for all of those folks who have won before, you should have a fancy little roll in the Discord that says Takeover winner. Once you no longer have that roll, 90 days has passed.
Yeah. All right, so we're spinning again. Did it literally just land on D's again?
It can't possibly.
It landed on D's again. Wow.
It's rigged, boys. It's rigged.
It's definitely rigged.
It's definitely rigged.
All right, reset. Third time. If it lands on D's again, we're throwing away the wheel. we're gonna start pulling names out of a hat. Wow. Hey, Backpost, good to see you. I don't know, and to stay on, I didn't say hello to everybody. Alex, none of your business is here. Got a lot of people. Freaky won. All right, now Freaky also won recently, though, didn't you, Freak?
No.
Okay, it's been a while.
Yeah, Freaky.
You won back in December.
Yeah.
And in January.
He's a lucky one.
January 16th, you won. So you've won. This is your third takeover, Freak. Huh? Now, Freaky's a buddy of mine. Freaky has helped me get my Chronum. Did three, count them, 1, 2, 3 referral accounts for my main account. So I'm always happy to help Freaky out.
So what we're saying is still rigged.
Still rigged. Yeah, you're looking for Fire Night Hard. All right, is it the same info? I still have the info, I think. Is it the same account, or are we on a different account? Okay. Gotcha. All right, we are in. Oh, man. Yeah, I've got to build Chronum. I don't want to use them for something. You don't have to be in the clan. You don't have to be a member. You do have to be a member of the Discord. That's the only thing that's true. But, this is kind of, it's like, when you have a shard pulling event and then you're talking about it in chat and you're like, one of your clan members hit like 7 legendaries in 40 shards. And then somebody else is like, I haven't hit 7 legendaries in 7 months. That's kind of what happens here too. You get the same kind of situation going on where some people just get their takeovers and other people are like, man, I've been waiting a year for my takeover. I promise it's random. All right, so we are looking at Fire Night Hard mode. All right, and we have not started it. Okay. All right, so let's look at the roster here. Now, the most important thing for Fire Night Hard mode is the freezes, right? You can actually do it without freezes. You can do it just by surviving. That's a thing that you can do, but in general, you're going to want to use the freezes as the turn meter control. So, okay, you've got a Cryodan. That's going to be key. You actually got a lot of Cryodans. You got several Cryodans. Let's look at Sir Nicholas, because I don't think it's just a single freeze, right, on his A1. Yeah. Tormund, his chance of freeze is yeah, okay. I don't know Whirling Frost. So he has a 30% chance there. Broadmaw has a 45% chance of freeze on his A1. I didn't even. And you don't have Newt. This is going to be interesting. I'll be honest. I'm already starting to think about, like, how do we make this happen? And I'm not entirely sure. There are ways to make this work. I'm not saying you can't. I'm kind of racking my brain a little bit. Let's take a look at the fight for a second. All right, let's take a look. First of all, I don't know what to say. Let me take a look at your mythicals. This is very tricky. We've got to get through. Got to get through the wave. All right, so right now, and I'm going to ask chat for help with this because this is pretty tricky. But I'm thinking right now, first of all, we need a fast team and a team that's going to survive. And I think realistically, we're going to take hits. I don't think we have enough turn meter control. We don't have enough freezes. So I'm thinking Zinogre as a speed lead, right? And we do want Cryodan. I do think we want Cryodan. So I'm not going to avoid him entirely. I think we're going to bring in Cryodan. He's going to help us with the waves. He's going to help us with the boss. Right now, in order to survive, we need a cleanse, I think, and we need probably a block debuffs. This is another increased speed champion. She's only got a single hit on her A1. We're a Fire Knight 1. But we want to go as far as possible. Now, we have the counterattacks, right? We do have a counterattack champion in Martyr, who has a decreased attack, which is valuable, right? And a decreased defense. But we're missing hits now. You know, this is the issue. We're not going super fast. We would really like a slow. Now we have Islan, who has an AoE slow. We have Archer, who has an AoE slow. Islan has a double hitter on his A1. He's also got a counterattack, but we're only going to have the counterattack. Lady Kimmy has a slow. But, you know, we also have to have the hits. Stag Knight has a slow on his A1. He's got double hitter on his A1. He's also got a decreased defense and a decreased attack. Yeah, I mean, that is an option, right? We pull Cryodan. Remember, Cryodan's helping us with the waves. Right now, he's really the only one doing waves. How's your Archer build? Oh, she is way too slow. Okay, Zinogre can't be the lead. She is way too slow as well. Gigante Archer can't play. Okay. Let's look at our Elva. How fast is she? 274. Okay. So she'll be our lead. Only a single hit there. We do have an Acrizia. Know you, Carl. Arbiter is better than Elva because she's got a 30% turn meter increase and a double hit on her A1. But Elva has the increased speed and the speed aura. Arbiter doesn't have a speed aura. They both heal. I mean, the heal is... Necmo would be pretty good. He's got the decreased speed, the increased speed, the decreased attack, the speed aura. Do we have a Farrakhan? Yeah, we do have a Farrakhan. How's he built? 142. So no. Beacon's 184. There was no Neldor. I did a search for freeze champ. No. These are our options for freeze champ. Realistically, out of this whole bunch, Crydan's the only one that's really viable and the only one that's built. All right, so Zinogre can't be the lead, but potentially All right, we need to go. I need to go back and look at the slow champion. Kahanarok is the only one that's built with any speed. I guess Morrigane's built a little bit of speed. What about Stagnite? Nope. Wow, okay. Freaky, I'm going to tell you, buddy, speed. Speed is going to be the stat that solves all your problems. Speed is going to be the stat that solves all your problems. You can beat this boss without a freeze. You do not need a freeze to beat Fire Knight hard mode. But if you don't bring a freeze, you have to build a very specific kind of team. Right? You need a team that is going to survive his hits and break the shield and apply all the debuffs you need to then survive his hits. Right? So you need a decrease attack. You're going to need probably an increased defense or a shield or a strengthen. You need a heal reduction because he's going to heal off of it. So you need a lot if you're going to go with a survival team. But you can do it. There are ways to do it. It's tricky. It's very tricky. Now, the better way is to use the freeze. Or I wouldn't say the better way. The better way is whatever way gets it done, right? But the easier way tends to be to get the freeze. Like, because then you can crowd control them. I don't even know if it's easier. Honestly, I don't know if what I know is that it's like the more straightforward. It's the one that uses the mechanic, right? So I think statistically, you need crazy stats, right, to build a team that survives. Like you need really good stats, and you need all of the different things. You need to bring in that decreased attack. You need to bring in that heal reduction. You need to bring in the survivability. You need to bring in all the speed. You need to bring in all the accuracy to land the debuffs, and you still have to be tanky enough to survive it. So if you just go with the freeze, the boss never gets a turn. And if the boss never gets a turn, you don't have the stat burden. You don't require the defense or the HP. You don't require those buffs. You don't require the heal reduction debuff. You don't require the decreased attack. So like you need to bring in less into your team, and it's more straightforward. You can just focus on damage and speed and accuracy, and that's all you need. So Farrakhan and Zinogre, Coldheart, Elva, and Shield and Cleanse Champ, like Mithril. Yeah, but here's the issue, right? Like if we look at the champions, I think Zinogre's great, but she's running at 157 speed. She needs to be running at 257 speed. Right? And if we look at all the champions, it's like, okay, we've got a lot of champions like this that are running in the 140s and 150s, you know, and therefore are not usable in hard mode dungeons. You know, or at least not to the level that we need. All right. So here Arbiter's running at 291. That's fast enough. That's fast enough. And we've got Elva here at 274, so that's fast enough. What's Cryodan running at? 185 is not fast enough. You run your Zinogre at 185? How hard? All the way up to stage 10 of hard mode? I'd be surprised. I guess you could, depending on who else you have in the team. If you have turn meter fillers that get you to the speed you need to be at. I think it's probably, there's got to be just some rebuilding done a little bit to get some champions into that speed range. So I was saying this before during the previous takeover, but this is true, and I say this a lot, which is that speed is the universal multiplier. Speed makes everything better. But there's a flip side of that coin, which is that without speed, you literally can't accomplish, like, regardless of how good your champions are. Without enough speed, the enemies are always better. Right? Like the value that you get out of your champions is the fact that you can synergize your team. You can put them together in such a way, and you know what the enemy's going to do. You know what their stats are. You know how fast the Fire Knight's going to go. You know exactly the rotation of his skills. So all that predictability allows you to like build a team that can take advantage of the tactics of the fight. But his stats can't be like you can't run at 140 speed. Right? Doesn't mean like the perfect team at 140 speed dies. The perfect team at 240 speed wins or whatever. It's just that. And this is true in all of the hard mode dungeons. Like speed is incredibly important. You can get up to about stage 5 or maybe even stage 6 without really pushing your speed too much, because it doesn't ramp up that fast. I think it's like 5 additional speed per stage up until 6, and then it becomes like 25 additional speed per stage for the next 4. So the speeds are way, way, way higher. Yeah, let's see if there's an ally attacker. I think there was Ferric the Fat, right? You've actually got 2 Morag bronze locks. One running at 160, and you've got a Necrit the Great running at... Now, he's just a single ally attack, right? And then we have Ferric the Fat running very slow. Let's see, what's your silver looking like? 14 million silver. Okay, Freaky, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a team here. I'm going to put together a theoretical team for you that you have to then go out and get the gear for. Okay, so this you're not going to be able to push Fire Knight hard mode with what you've got. And it's not because you don't have the roster. You do have the roster, but you just don't have the speeds yet. So I'm actually going to get out of this. We're not going to do that. We're going to do like a legitimate team. Okay, and I think what you're going to do here is it's going to be Zinogre. And Ferric the Fat. Now, I got to figure out your slow champion. Got some good options. Yeah, I'm a little bit less worried about affinity right now. I think we are going to go with Stag Knight, though. I think we are going to. And the reason we're going to go with Stagnite is because his slow is on his A1 and it's a double hitter, so you never have to change it. And he also has a decrease attack. So if you can't turn meter control, if you don't have enough speed, you can do that. But now we need to hit. Now we need to really hit. So now we need a nuker. Cold Heart's not enough. I almost feel like a second ally attacker would be better. Just get more Cryodan attacks. Tomb Lord is a triple hitter with an A1 slow. %30 chance. Oh no, just places. Sorry. Places 30. If the attack is critical, so it's 100% chance. And it has a decreased attack. Although it's only 80%, and he's not booked. And he's running very slow. But again, we said this was theoretical, so. Yeah, Tomb Lord might be the better option. But then we have no decreased defense, right? No, Farrakhan brings a decreased defense. Decreased defense on his A1. Okay, so Tomb Lord might be better than Stagnite. It's an extra hit. And then we bring a Krizia, I think, right? I know it's only a single hit. She does have this double hitter on her A2. And she has a double hitter on her A3. I think we need a Krizia for the damage. I think we have to hit super hard. So I think this is the team, right? What we have here is we have a triple hit A1 from our speed lead plus the increased speed, right? So triple hit A1 with a weaken. Now the weaken is incredibly important because we're trying to one-shot this boss if we can. We're trying to, or at least cycle around and kill him before he gets a chance to go, right? Like, so the weaken is really important. You got the 4-hitter on the A2. Increase speed. So you open with this, and then this is from your ally attack. So you're getting 7 hits from her. You got the ally attack, which is giving you increased crit rate and increased crit damage. You've got a Krizia who's going to, got a chance to drop defense. You've got Cryodan, who's got I think he's got a triple hit. No, it's a double hit on the A1, right? Where is it? Oh, sorry. It's a double hit on the A1. It's triple hit on the A1. So you're going to get a freeze or 2 there. He's going to help you with the waves. I mean, we've got single target attack, single target attack, single target attack, single target. So Cryodan's the wave control guy. Now let's look at Tomb Lord for a second. I've only ever pulled him once, and I don't think I took him to 60. Or I maybe took him to 60, but didn't book him because I didn't have the book. Okay. So this may actually be kind of overkill on the hits. We may not need this many hits. And in fact, what we might want is more wave control, right? Or more just straight up damage. Right. So you've got the weaken on the A1 from Zinogre. You've got the increase crit rate, increased crit damage from Farrakhan. You've got the decreased defense from Acrizia, I think. You've got the slow from Tomb Lord. These are all on A1s, by the way, except for Farrakhan. What's Farrakhan's? A1 is also the decreased defense. And then Cryodan's got the A1 freezes. This feels like a viable team. I'm not sure how far it'll get, but what I do know is you'll need more speed than you've got. So what I would say is here, push these speeds on all of these champions to a minimum of 180. I would say a minimum of 180 on all of them. And then you want a speed tune for the boss fight. Make sure that they're hitting in the order that you want them to hit in. So, think about when the shield's going to break and put them in the team order. It may not end up being this team order, right? It may depend where people attack, because you might want Cryodan at the back. You might actually want him in this spot here, right? Because when the shield breaks, then his A1 has a chance to decrease turn meter. So you don't want him using his hits to break the shield. You want him using his hits to decrease turn meter. So you want the shield broken before he hits. So it might be something like that, or, something like this or this, whatever. I don't know, what's the best. Depends on the speed tune you choose. But I think that's the way you got to go for now. Now, I saw that you had multiple Cryodans. You have the option to build a second Cryodan. As soon as you get 2 Cryodans, it's going to be different, because now you've got a lot more freezes coming in. You also have the opportunity to go after Yakarl. Yakarl has an even better, he's got a better chance of freeze. So you can bring in Yakarl. The nice thing about Yakarl, no weak hits, right? So as you're leveling up and you're taking on different stages and the affinity changes, Yakarl's just going to do the work that he needs to do. He also brings a slow. So that allows you to potentially bring out, pull Tomb Lord and gain freezes while not losing the slow. His slow's not on his A1, though. It would have to be an additional skill. Now the other option, like we said, is to go with like a survivability team. That team still needs to break the shields and then have the shield down for long enough to do some damage. I would still think Acrizia is probably your best damage dealer. Like, she's going to hit the hardest. But you have other options. I actually like Nishak Verminlord, because especially if you have a let me show you. If you have a team that's going for survivability, where is he? Oh, he's right at the top. If you have a team that's going for survivability and just surviving through all rounds, first of all, he has a double hitter on his A1. Oh, triple hitter on his A1. So you have the triple hit there. That's also going to work with ally attack if you do that, or counter attack, right? So if you have a counter attack, he's going to put those 3 hits out there. That's really nice. And then, he's going to fill up that debuff bar with the bombs. And then when the boss goes, because the boss is going, those bombs are going to go off and turn into poisons, and then the poisons will take on the next round, right? So Nishak doesn't work on a go first team. He, like a one-shot team or a turn meter control team. He only works if you're going to use that survivability team. He's also got that decreased attack. So he's bringing a lot to it, and I think he can be your sort of only damage dealer. You don't necessarily need to bring Acrizia. He might be better than Acrizia, But again, he can be weak affinity. So that's a thing to consider. You know. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where I think you are. I think that, you know, this is a viable team. I don't love it. I'm not madly in love with it. I do think Acrisia makes up for a lot, right? She's just going to hit so hard that if you can kind of get that decrease attack out there, you know, and survive a shot or two, she's going to make short work of the boss. So she might not be as good as Newt in this fight, but she's going to hit as hard as Newt in this fight, right? She just doesn't have the turn meter control that he has. So I think you're in pretty good shape here. All right, Freaky, any questions? Yeah, you're thinking about empowerment for Cryodan. That could be, yeah. I mean, you have those extra copies, potentially get him more speed, get him more damage. Yeah, that'd be fine too. I mean, I think so. Fire Knight hard mode is the last hard mode that I have to get to stage 10 myself on. I think I'm currently on stage 7. And it's just a matter of investment. You really have to invest. I'm bringing up a Neldor. He's not quite ready yet. As soon as he is, then I'll have stage 10 done. Because I have the speed and all the other champions around him. But I'm waiting on my Neldor. But, you know, if you don't quite have the right champions and you're just trying to make something work, I would say, you know, if you can get to stage 4, right? So stage 4 of Fire Knight is Force Affinity. So if you can get to stage 4, and if you have the right affinity to get this done there, then that's a pretty good place to farm. Stage 4, stage 5 is also pretty good. Stage 6 is really good if you can farm stage 6. But if you can get to stage 4, usually that's a good place to like start farming the mythical gear, right? At stages 1, 2, and 3, it's like I mean, even at 4, the drop chance is pretty low, but that's where it seemed to me to start being significant, like that I noticed it. You know, it wasn't 1 out of every 30 drops. It was like 1 out of every 9 or something, you know, whatever it happened to be. So it's like, yeah, you know, and it might take you, you know, 4 or 5 months to get all the way to stage 10, but this is the hardest of the dungeons. It's definitely the hardest of the dungeons. So, you know, if you can push this to 10, this is where I would focus too. So, I have the time to finish Kraden's masteries. Let me look really quickly at his masteries. Kraden. I don't know what it is. I'm going to say Kraden. Why can't I ever find champions I'm looking for? There he is. Okay. Let's just take a quick look at his skills. Triple hit, double hit, not a hit. Bill's turn meter. So here's the thing. I think you're going in the right direction. And what you want to do is you want to land on Giant Slayer, and you want to land on, you know, you have to decide about Lore of Steel. So here you can't extend debuff. So you're going to want Sniper. You want that extra 5% chance of landing. No, you can't. Sorry, that's a freeze. So probably you'll end up going for Lasting Gifts to extend the increased speed buff. I mean, the cooldown, the Cycle of Magic is fine for him, I think, because It would just give you more AoEs during the waves. Because you're basically going to turn that off against the boss, I think. I think you're just going to use the A1. I have to do the math on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's... Well, no, it's a 65% chance. So either way, it would probably be better. Depending on the set that you're using, Lore of Steel could be really good. I would probably put at least one perception set on him. This is sort of a strange build for him. So what I would probably look to do is get him in... I'd probably build him kind of like I would build a Deacon. I would build him with 2 perception sets and a speed set. Get him pretty fast, you know? Now, you can build him as a damage dealer, or you can build him as a debuffer. I think the other option would be, you know, go for Eagle Eye and leave the Giant Slayer off, but I think you're going to want Giant Slayer. So I would probably do this. Here's the thing. We want methodical. So we got to figure out how to get over to, yeah, this makes sense. We want that too. Okay. So we'll go here, 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 and Giant Slayer. And then what I would say is you could take Evil Eye. It doesn't work on Fire Knight, but it will work in other places. But I think you might, like, if you go 2 perception in the speed set, you're going to get more value out of Lore of Steel. So I would probably go over here to Cycle of Magic, Lasting Gifts, and Lore of Steel. And now the rest of them are basically whatever you want. Yeah, Heart of Glory is probably good. Increase speed for each enemy killed by this champion. That would make your speed tune a little bit less predictable, but I don't know that it would hurt it at all. It might, in fact, improve your chance, because he will kill enemies in the waves, probably. The only issue is if you want him to go later in the rotation, it'd be harder to force him back to that. So I'll let you experiment with the team before you choose whether you want to go here, or you want to go here, or you want to go over on the other side. Now you could go with Arcane Celerity, which would not hurt you against the boss because the buffs don't actually land. I don't actually know if Arcane Celerity... Does anybody know if Arcane Celerity goes off on the freezes against... Maybe they do. So you could get more turn meter fill. That might be good. It does land. Okay. So you could use either one, but you could figure that out, you know, once you've speed tuned, if there's going to be a problem with that. So if there is going to be a problem, if there's going to be an issue with it, then I would just end up going for Life Drinker. But if there isn't going to be an issue, then you can decide whether Arcane Celerity is going to be better or Whirlwind of Death is going to be better. Yeah, exactly. So if you want a speed tune, Life Drinker. But if the extra turn meter fill or whatever helps, then just go with one of the other ones. Yeah, and I think you're good. By the way, you know, as you get closer, go ahead and, you know, update me in Discord, and I'll be happy to give you tips on how to progress. But I think Krydan's going to be good for you. Now maybe grab you Carl. You know, like this would be, I don't know how close you are to your Carl. But you've got some, you know, some coins. You're at 35 fragments. That's 11 weeks. It's 11 weeks. So it's kind of far away. But he's so good. He's really good. Right? That A1 has a 50% chance of freezing on each hit. And then he's got the guaranteed freeze on the A2 plus a decreased speed. He's void affinity. He's got the AoE freeze. It's really nice. So, in the long run, maybe you work towards that, or you work towards a second Cryodan. Yeah. All right, folks, that is it for me. I'm already past my 4 p.m. deadline, but that was good. Thanks, Freaky, for letting me hang out on your account. And yeah, speed for everybody. So in a lot of cases, the same 3 sets that we were talking about before, like perception sets are incredibly important as you approach endgame. They're really valuable all the way up, but they're the most universally valuable set in the game. Like there isn't a better set than perception in the game in terms of value, right? I'm not saying the best for each individual champion. I'm just saying you will use more good pieces of perception gear than any other set in the game, except maybe speed, but probably even more than speed because it's just harder to get speed gear. So focus on perception, focus on speed, and then focus on fatal. When you get an opportunity to do that. Is it fatal? Lethal. Lethal. When you get an opportunity to do that, But yeah. By the way, if you have an opportunity to get instant gear, get it. Instant gear is so good. All right, that is it for me today, folks. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm going to try to be back on a more normal video schedule. Last week we had some chaos, baby chaos. Baby chaos is fun, by the way. I mean, it's crazy and it's scary sometimes, but he's awesome. He's awesome. So we're having a lot of fun. And yeah, so look for the fusion plan, the no-fail fusion plan. That'll be coming out probably on Thursday. I think that's when the fusion starts. And who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. So, but thanks for hanging out. I have had a lot of fun, and I'll see you all soon. Son, do you want to say goodbye to the good people? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I guess he's going to wish you an excellent rest of your day. That's usually what he does. All right. See you later, folks. Thanks for hanging out.